welcome to QA, where tonight the K is silent, as in knits, knots, knackers and knobs. Let's meet a nitwit Sue Perkins. Not a lot, Ross Noble. Slightly knackered David Mitchell. And a complete, say no more, Alan Davis. Right. All the K's are quiet, and so are their noises. Sue goes, shh. Ross goes. David goes. That was a pin dropping. You could hear it.
Yeah.
And Alan goes.
Silence is gone.
Very nice. And how many knots are there in this picture?
Silence.
Yes.
2. Well, you've got some options. Oh, none.
Oh! David!
1?
Yeah!
Is it the noose?
There are 2 hitches, a bend and a knot.
The one on the right is a canoose.
Yes.
A noose, but it is a knot.
Oh, a
Yeah.
noose is a knot.
A noose is a type of knot.
The
A
hitches-
hangman's knot.
The hitches are the first one and the third.
It's correct. They are hitches, and the second one is what's known
bend,
as
it's
a
clearly
bend. In everyday speech, of course, the word knot is used for all of them, but this is QI, where everyday speech is completely... So the highwayman's hitch, for example, I have an example of a highwayman's hitch. That's where you hitch a horse, and the tighter you pull, the tighter it goes, but when you want to get away quickly, you pull the short one.
Oh, that is good.
Isn't that clever?
Does he not just run off with the stick?
It's a post in the ground.
Because if you tied up your dog to that and you went, right, and then threw it and the dog ran after, what a confusion there.
Yeah. Another one was called the European Death Knot, the Euro Death Knot, or EDK.
Was that named by UKIP?
It's also a one-sided overhand bend. It's used for joining 2 ropes, as you can see. It's perfectly safe, used right, but a lot of climbers thought it wasn't safe, and it was invented in Europe, so American climbers called it the Euro Death Knot. In fact, it's very, very old, and the 5,300-year-old man, Ötzi, who was discovered in the Alps, dead, obviously.
For a moment there.
He was preserved.
There for 5,000 years ago. Well, help, will somebody help?
He had amongst his possessions a knot tied exactly in that fashion. So it shows that we've been doing it for a very long time.
And that would have been before rope was invented. So how we pulled that off.
The other hitch we saw was called the snuggle hitch, which is a more secure version of the better-known sailor's knot, the clove hitch.
You look at me as if I would know
Sorry,
that. Come on, Susan, you know that.
One of the surprising things about it, because it looks reasonably simple, was that it was invented in 1987. Or at least that's when it was very first introduced into the International Knot Tyers Guild.
Did they think they had enough knots?
Yeah, no. there are 3,800 in there. We're not going to go through each one of them.
So that's a very specific 80s knot. Did somebody go, we need a way of tying down Bananarama?
It was a man called Owen Nuttall, anyway, who invented it, and he called it the snuggle
I
hitch.
imagine he speaks like that.
Well,
The snuggle...
Nuttall here.
he might well
invented a
do. The hangman's knot is named after one of the most famous hangmen in history, Charles II's hangman.
Oh, Johnny...
French guy.
Johnny Noose.
French...
No, oddly enough, his surname is a sailing vessel. Jack...
Boat.
Ketch.
Yacht.
Ketch. Jack Ketch.
Which, if I'm not mistaken, has a tall mast at the front and a small mast at the back.
Very indeed.
Yes, I'd just like to put that out.
Well done.
Thank you.
This became pretty much the standard hanging noose that was used because it broke the neck very quickly. So it was a very quick death when you dropped. The drop, as they called it. So, in a way, it was humane.
It's good that you say he was an effective hangman, because if you weren't an effective hangman, you're essentially just a bloke that opens a door. You know what I mean? 'Cause where was it? There was a place where the prisoners built the gallows, and when you stood on a particular plank, it forced the wood out, and then the door didn't open, and no one was getting... And then they would test it, and the door would open, and then they'd go, all right, and then they'd put the person there, and then it would push the wood, and then it wouldn't, and they'd go, all right, take him away, test it again, fine. And that happened loads of times.
And so they decided God didn't want this person to die and let them
Now,
off.
I think that's a real thing. I might have seen it in an episode of Scooby-Doo. I'm not sure. I'm not quite sure.
Do you do a lot of hanging in Scooby-Doo?
Now you come to mention it.
Come on!
It's not... How would that be Scooby-Doo? You're right. Shaggy!
It was Mr. Ketch from the Hangman all the time. So, now, I want you to take one of those each and tie yourselves together, as it were.
This has gone quite dark.
Yeah, it's
Just me. It's like a party game in the 70s.
So, put each one of those around your wrist. No, don't undo it.
Well, I can't get
Oh,
my hand
sorry.
through that, can I? Little cock grab, that is.
Try with this one. Oh, you can give me that one back.
More like it.
Put your wrist through. That's it, and then do that, so that you're tied together.
Okay.
Yes. Is that
All right,
right?
is that good?
Yes.
Yeah, without undoing the knots, untie yourselves.
Oh, I see.
Don't turn around, don't turn around.
You go through there.
Yes! Yes!
Emphatically no! Completely not.
Hang on.
I've got it. If I do a forward flip...
No.
Right. Let's see if we can get...
Oh.
I think technically you're now married.
What? I'm coming down, I'm coming down.
You two hold it for a second and watch, because I think Sue was onto something.
OK, this is what we did when we were regularly handcuffed together as children.
You mustn't untie the knot. But... Ooh. Yay! Brilliant. Have a go.
I have no idea what you did.
No, neither do I, but I just feel alone now. I liked it when we were together.
Show them if you can remember it. Show
Probably
them.
weird
So,
is I've now got a purple
It's a
one
magician's
round there.
trick. It's a good magic.
So what you have to do is you have to make a loop, and then you feed the loop through.
What?
And you go over your hand.
No way.
You are free. No, you're not.
Is this your watch?
Oh, we've given up. We've
Hang
given
on,
up.
if I take my trousers off...
I think we have to call it a disaster. But well done, Sue Perkins.
It was like playing S&M Twister.
It was rather, wasn't it? It was a wonderful sight that will never leave my memory bank.
You're now a shoo-in for the 50 Shades of Grey movie, the pair of you.
You are. Absolutely. So, if you want to tie the knot at a knobstick wedding, what do you need? A knobstick
knobstick wedding.
Yeah.
I think I've been to a few of those.
It's not an offensive term for gay marriage, is it? I'd be very surprised and disappointed to hear that on this show.
It is now.
And if you imagine a knobstick as being some sort of weapon, is there another type of weapon followed by wedding?
A shotgun.
Exactly, pretty similar to a shotgun wedding, which is from a later era, but a knobstick is a stick with a knob on the end.
So you just wave your knobstick around and someone goes, all right, I'll marry you.
It's a club. What used to...
Sorry, I was about to go, that's what I did to my wife.
No, she might be watching. A knobstick is a type of wooden club. Now, if a woman was unmarried and had a baby, that baby was said to be on the parish, like Oliver Twist. And the parish paid for workhouses and the parish had to pay for the babies. And they didn't like that. So in smaller villages where they knew who the father was, they would force the marriage by threatening them with a knobstick. And that was what a knobstick marriage was. It was an enforced marriage, because the moment a man marries a woman, he is responsible for the baby and the wife. Whereas if an unmarried woman was in the parish was. So it's that simple. There's a description of one here from 1829. One of those illegal celebrations of matrimony which are termed by the peasantry knobstick weddings took lately place in Wirksworth. The parties forced into the blessed state are William Saxton, a slender-witted man, aged 24.
Don't look at me when you said that.
And Lydia Brooks, some 15 years older, who has a wooden leg.
Why did they need
made in heaven.
Why did they need the knobstick then? Why didn't she just hop after him and go, come on, marry me, come on?
But the word knot has been associated with marriage for a very, very long time. Tying the knot was first used in 1717, at least that's the first record we have of tying the knot. And there have been some very odd ones. In 2005, American Kevin Nadal married...
A horse? Was it a horse?
A tree?
No, it was himself.
Oh.
Yes.
Can you do that?
He solemnly vowed, I, Kevin Nadal, take me, Kevin Nadal, to have and hold in sickness and in health. His point was, if people are happy to celebrate married life, why shouldn't they celebrate single life?
Yeah.
Did he take himself out on dates and wonder when he'd make the first move?
I bet he also said, why is it always me who does the washing
Yeah.
up?
Why am I always the bridesmaid?
It's not me, it's me.
If he meets somebody, is he unfaithful to himself?
He
then?
would be, yes,
Not
presumably.
going to tell myself. I'm going.
Very odd.
Would you have to divorce yourself?
Where have you been? I'm not saying.
After many years of thought, I decided to have an open relationship with myself. And, you know, I don't mind what I get up to.
Yeah. But I wish I just would... Don't do it
Don't tell
behind
me.
my back.
Don't tell me. Don't tell me. I don't want to know.
Not in my bed.
He wanted to do a bit of wife swapping, he just goes the other end of the bed.
In 1979, a lady called Aya Ritter Berliner Mauer, a 57-year-old German woman, married... What do you think she married?
Is it a bridge?
No, from her name.
Berliner Mauer.
Mauer.
So Berlin Wall.
She married the Berlin Wall in 1979, when it was still up, obviously.
There was somebody who married the Eiffel Tower or something.
Did they?
They dated the Eiffel Tower for a while, and then they got married. And they said that they'd been going steady with a bow, and they'd had close relations with a fence beforehand. And they were
Wow.
obsessed with... I think there's a word for... I don't know what the word is, but for sleeping with inanimate objects or falling.
Size isn't everything, but the Eiffel Tower is pretty impressive.
As phalluses go.
And there's a gift shop.
Yes!
A restaurant.
The view from the top of my husband. Anyway, none of these marriages, of course, has any official standing. So those are some of the odder marriages. The traditional way to make an honest woman of someone is to use a churchwarden's knob, on the other hand. Why would anyone ban knitting patterns, flowers, hugs and kisses? This is a real ban, that is to say, a governmental
It's got a wartime feeling about it.
It has got a wartime feeling
Code?
about it. Code is the right
Got the
word.
knitting code.
Yes. So in World War II, you were not allowed to send abroad any knitting pattern, just in case there was code embedded in it.
So you couldn't send
knitting
socks to prisoners of war?
Well, you could send socks, but not anything with a knitting pattern in it.
Oh, right.
Okay.
Because they could be used as some sort of code.
Open out a blanket and it says June the 6th, 19...
Normandy. Also, postal chess was not allowed. Even kisses at the bottom of letters, in case they had some meaning.
Presumably messages saying where the troops are moving.
Yes,
that would
those
also
were
be
obviously
banned.
pretty much banned.
Could you not have got, like, you know, you get knitting machines. Could they not have made, like, an Enigma knitting machine where it makes a jumper and then scrambles it up so that they couldn't pass the message?
That would be very
You
clever.
know, it's an opportunity missed.
It is an opportunity missed. We have a Karen Templar, who is a QI watcher, has knitted us.
Oh, look at that.
And this says, in Morse code, I will always love you.
Oh, that's cute.
Oh, thank you, Karen. Bravo.
You know what she was doing there? I thought she was playing... She was indulging in a bit of foreplay.
Hey! Very good.
And let's hope that it is Morse code and not Braille. You'll what? Get off me.
You know the female knitters at the guillotine?
Yes.
Did they knit? Did they knit code or knit something? There was something about the knitting code.
The most famous one is Madame Defarge in The Tale of Two Cities, and they were known as tricoteuses, which is the French for knitting women. But a lot of people now believe they didn't really exist, that they were sort of made up by Carlyle, the great historian of the French Revolution, and by Dickens.
So they didn't knit necessarily, or they didn't think that they actually sat there watching heads
Well,
rolling.
in the book,
making
Madame
bobble
Defarge
hats.
knits the names of all the aristocrats who are getting their heads chopped off, which is not really a code, as a sort of gleeful, cackling joy. And the original women of the Revolution were called the mothers of the Revolution, and they were much loved. But then they became, during the Terror, they became considered a nuisance. And so they were shut up, and they were forbade to wear trousers. A law that wasn't repealed until February 2013 in France. Trouser suits have actually been illegal in France for that length, but obviously not enforced, to say the least. Now, how can knitting be used to reduce fear, crime and disorder?
You're saying if he had a tank top on, he'd go, OK, I'm putting the gun down.
Well, you know, if he was knitting, he couldn't be holding a gun.
Yeah.
Well, that's true.
It's harder to stab, shoot. You can only really kick people while you're knitting, can't you?
You can stab.
And
We'll come on to that. There is something called extreme knitting, which we will come to. At the moment, we're looking at this form of knitting, which has different names. It's called guerrilla knitting, or sometimes yarn bombing. And it is actually a way to make a place more peaceful. It's to deter crime. And it's tried out in Leicester, where they hung pom-poms and put things around trees.
Oh, I feel calm already. It's like a tree warmer.
Well, they used cozies for tree trunks, parking meters, even buses and tanks has been suggested in the military areas. The Leicester experiment has had mixed results. Some locals don't think it works, others do. The fact is the pom-poms have so embarrassed the Leicester police that they haven't allowed us to show photographs of them, which is extremely mean of them.
Yeah.
But I'm sure if you look it up, you'll be able to see the Leicester
so they're
pom-poms.
embarrassed.
Yeah. They're embarrassed by the fact that they do look rather comic.
We can easily sort that out. Basically, if you're watching, if you're in Leicester and you see a policeman, just go, "Oi, where's Pom-Pom?"
Yes.
Like that. I'll teach him.
No, it certainly will. It certainly will. But as I said, there's guerrilla knitting, but I alluded to it earlier. There's extreme knitting. What do you think that might be?
I don't know, now I've got Greg Wallace in my head going, knitting doesn't get more extreme than this. First you get a slip stitch, then comes the taste of pearl.
Isn't it about doing knitting in places where you wouldn't normally, like driving a Formula 1 car or...
Well, sort of.
Parachuting or something.
The great heroine of this is one Susie Hewer, aged 55 at the moment of going to press. She has the world record for knitting a scarf while running a marathon.
Oh, that is good.
That is impressive. And she's also crocheted while running a marathon too. And she's ridden a tandem, and she does it to raise money for Alzheimer's research. So it's all pretty good in the end.
Yeah, I did a half marathon when I was a student to raise money so that we could go to the Edinburgh Festival.
Oh, dear me.
Have a
So
guess.
that's what
50
got
quid.
you
70.
here.
Oh, that's good.
70
For
quid.
13
And
miles.
then we got £2 grand off the Students' Union to top it up.
30? Well, it worked out all right for you, didn't it?
Yeah.
I would say. Now, what about the biggest knitted objects in the world? How big are they?
Massive.
Yes, is the answer. Give me
Have a point, thank you.
The biggest knitted object.
Yeah.
Well, I've had my doubts about Venus for a long time.
Is it going to be like a suspension bridge or something? It's a knitted object.
In as much as it is, yes, it is a
a house.
physical object on which people can live.
Is the internet knitted? Does it count as the huge knitted thing?
No, it's a series of man-made knitted islands on the Peruvian side of Lake Titicaca, and there are 45 of them. They're from Totoro reeds, and there's a church on one of them. There are buildings and houses, people live on them. And they're quite...
The scariest thing is the size of the nanas that built them.
Several hundred people live on them, and they get so used to this rather springy surface that if they then go on land, they can't walk. It takes them ages to get their land legs
I think
back.
that's where Bez from the Happy Mondays, he's from.
There you go.
It'd be a great
Excellent.
excuse, wouldn't it, if you turned up somewhere pissed to say, no, actually, I'm fine. I just usually live somewhere knitted. Very odd.
Just use a very different surface.
Everything feels very wobbly, but it's, honestly, I'm a professional.
But the Lake Titicaca Olympic team must be amazing.
Give me a statistic about Lake Titicaca.
It is the biggest innuendo place in the planet.
It's got titties and it's got caca.
Exactly.
Is it very, very high?
It's the highest navigable lake in the world. That's quite right.
Navigable means you can go in one end and out the other.
Well, yes, yeah, you can get ships on it, and there are many ships on it exactly like that, and ports and things like that. There are higher lakes which you couldn't get a
Not
ship
been made
onto.
more navigable by loads of knitted
Knitted,
islands.
yeah.
Get in the way.
Yeah.
So, anyway, now for a new round, What Katie Did. Here are 5 creatures and 5 names. I want you to match the creature to the name.
Oh, right. Okay.
There's a dragon-headed, a spike-headed, a horned, a mimicking snout-nosed and a small-hooded, and they're all called...
Sheila.
No, they're called katydids. Why might they be called a katydid?
A catitid?
No, it is actually pronounced katydid. It's because supposedly the sound they make by stridulating their wings, as many of the crickety-type animals and cicadidy-type animals do...
Crickety-type animals?
Yeah, crickets, grasshoppers, locusts.
And this is
look to
the... you do it in your nature shows. You go, oh, these are the crickety-type ones.
The crickety ones and the footballish ones.
So their bingo wings sort of rub, and they
rub
let
their
off
rings,
a...
and it makes a chirping noise, yes, but which
mine do that.
puts them in common with locusts and grasshoppers and cicadas and so on. But they're called katydids because apparently the sound is Katie did, Katie didn't. I don't know. We haven't got a recording of it, so I can't
Katie
help
did,
you.
Katie didn't, Katie did, Katie didn't.
Let's show the answers in a colour-coded sort of way. Well, there you can see.
Oh.
But they're strange creatures, and the most impressive in some ways is the small hooded, which is, you see, is the purple one, which looks like a leaf. We're looking at it very closely and it's moving, but it wasn't discovered till 2010. It lived for millennia, and it's not even rare. It's in Australia. It's because its camouflage is so astonishing. The mottling of the leaves and everything else is such that people just don't see
It's
it.
the longest game of hide and seek.
Yes, it is.
Eventually, son. Oh, let's
finally.
a blighter in there. He says, that's an animal, it's alive. Oh, you got me.
Yeah, terrifying thing, actually, suddenly to really, you know, that things that we've been looking at for ages turn out to be animals.
Yes.
You know, that you suddenly you're looking at 4 trees and suddenly you realise, oh no, they're legs.
There's another katydid which does a really extraordinary thing.